Ukrainian drone operator repels Russian attacks on the road to Oblast. Due to the air superiority of the Ukrainian forces in the region, the Russian advance has experienced a major pause. Russia's long struggle against drones seems to have failed. Ukrainian 24th Brigade destroyed Russian tanks in an ambush in Oblast. Russian forces lost a large number of T-90 tanks in Ukrainian airstrikes. These heavy losses financially cost Russia millions of dollars. Many Russian military bunkers were destroyed. In addition, many Russian soldiers faced drone attacks by detecting the supply routes used by the Russians. Russian soldiers were found to be using vehicles they found in abandoned villages in the neighborhood. It was understood that they did this to camouflage themselves from the Ukrainian attacks. A Russian armored vehicle detected by reconnaissance aircraft is shot down by an unmanned aerial vehicle of the 24th Mechanized Brigade. Ukraine's 22nd Mechanized Brigade continues its ground operations. Many ruins, villages, and small settlements in the neighborhood are being searched by the infantry. Clashes are taking place in the city for hours. The Russian tank T-80 of the Pokrovsk direction was detected by drones of the 22nd Brigade of Ukraine. The Russian tank, which seems to have stopped to meet Ukrainian troops in a critical position, is attacked by drones. The tank, whose armor is quite strong, manages to survive the first attack. A second air attack is then launched. While all this is happening, the tank is firing at Ukrainian positions. With the second attack, the tank's tracks are damaged. It can no longer move forward, but the tank can still fire. The third and final air raid attack is coming. This time, it becomes completely dysfunctional and is destroyed. With the vehicle no longer working, the Russian soldiers coming out of it start to escape. Thus, a Russian attack is repulsed by the Ukrainian 22nd Brigade. Since the war began, Ukraine has turned drones into one of its most powerful weapons. Right now, Ukrainian workshops are producing over 2 million FPV drones per year, a massive number that has reshaped the battlefield. These drones aren't just for reconnaissance. They're actively hunting down Russian vehicles, artillery, and even infantry positions. The impact of these drones is clear. They now account for 85% of the damage inflicted on Russian forces, a massive increase from last summer's 50%. As a result, Russian assaults are slowing down, and in some areas, they're even being pushed back. Russian trenches were detected near the Kursk region. These bunkers, which have very well camouflaged entrances, are being attacked by drones. After the explosion, the Russian soldier inside is seen looking out in panic. He showed that he wanted to surrender by raising the white piece of cloth tied to his weapon. The Russian vehicle, which had left its unit and wandered unattended, was detected by aircraft. The vehicle, which is seen to be moving rapidly, encounters the unmanned aerial attack of Ukraine. The vehicle, which started to burn in the first attack it received, soon explodes with the ammunition inside. The Bradley vehicles given to the Ukrainian army by the USA deal a major blow to the Russian advance. The Bradley you see in these images is firing at Russian positions. The impact of Bradleys on Russian forces is evident in the declining success rate of Russian armored assaults. Since Ukraine began deploying these vehicles in combined arms operations, Russian offensives in certain sectors have slowed, forcing Moscow to reconsider its battlefield strategies. With Ukraine receiving more Western armored vehicles, including additional Bradleys, the pressure on Russian ground forces is expected to increase further. A Ukrainian Bradley and a Russian tank T-90 confronted each other. In this encounter, the Bradley continued to fire continuously, while the Russian tank fired unsuccessfully. If it had managed to hit the Bradley, it would have exploded immediately. But the Ukrainian vehicle managed to disable the tank systems. The 47th Mechanized Division's FPV drones were immediately supported by unmanned aerial vehicles. They managed to destroy the Russian tank with their aircraft. As the battle for the Oblast intensifies, Russia has been steadily reinforcing its positions with a significant number of troops. Intelligence reports estimate that Moscow has deployed anywhere between 30,000 to 50,000 soldiers to the region, drawing forces from various brigades across occupied territories and even as far as Siberia. On the other side, Ukraine has responded with calculated precision, not seeking to match Russia's numbers man for man, but rather employing a mix of highly trained troops and advanced drone warfare. The Ukrainian armed forces have sent around 15,000 to 20,000 soldiers into the Oblast, including elements of elite mechanized brigades and territorial defense units. In a shocking turn of events, the recent meeting between Donald Trump and Volodymyr Zelensky ended in controversy, further complicating hopes for peace between Russia and Ukraine. During a White House press conference, Trump openly criticized Zelensky for what he called a lack of gratitude for past U.S. aid, while Vice President J.D. Vance echoed similar sentiments. The meeting quickly turned tense, and within days, the Trump administration halted military aid to Ukraine and cut intelligence sharing agreements. Abrams tanks of Ukrainian forces are carrying out attacks on Russian targets. This is how the U.S. main battle tank Abrams, which has been in service since 1980, hit Russian targets. Abrams tanks of Ukrainian forces are carrying out attacks on Russian targets. This is how the U.S. main battle tank Abrams, which has been in service since 1980, hit Russian targets. Ukrainian forces are now using unmanned vehicles to deliver arms and ammunition to the front lines. Ukraine, which has developed such a system due to the logistics routes being held by the Russians, seems to be successful in this. As you can see from the images, the vehicle designed in accordance with the terrain structure takes the ammunition brought to the trench. Moments when Russian soldiers were spotted on a motorbike. Immediately afterwards, drones of the Azov troops attacked the Russian group on motorbikes. In the face of this shock attack, the soldiers, who are observed to be trying to move away quickly, continue to be attacked. The use of motorcycles in the Russian army has been widespread since 2022. The reasons for this are known to be due to the fact that the Ukrainian territory consists of rugged terrain and the mobility of the army is restricted. Although Russia has military superiority in the war, Ukraine knows its territory better. In addition, thanks to technology, it manages to damage Russia to a great extent. Although Russian forces are in the majority in the Oblast region, the Ukrainians win the systematic war.